Hey everyone, welcome to our webinar. Today we're talking all about customer feedback and how hearing from customers in real time can make for big improvements across your organization and ultimately on individual customers. For those of you who are new to our webinars, I'm Jared, the Director of Content and Communication here at Mindful, and today I'm proud to be joined by my colleague Megan. Hey Megan.
Hey Jared. Hey everyone.
Megan is a Senior Client Success Manager here and our expert on all things voice of customer. She works with clients like HelloFresh, Pfizer, Shipt, and is chock full of real-life stories, examples, and tips on ways to better connect with your customers by simply listening to them. So let's get into it. At the core of today, we're going to unpack how real-time feedback holds the key to overcoming silos and closing the loop. And at first, it might seem like those are two very unrelated topics, but we've seen how silos, whether organizational, data-related, or tool-related, these silos keep your boots-on-the-ground teams from acting quick to improve and de-escalate negative experiences.
And being in the moment is critical here because the longer time passes between the experience and when a customer gives feedback, the more blurred the memory gets, right?
Right, absolutely. So to take this on, we'll look at three different aspects of the problem of generality, of team silos, and immediacy. Up first, generalized and aggregated scores hide key opportunities. Okay, let's start at the very basics because that's going to set up how we're looking at this from different perspectives, even at the start. Because I know if I asked you all to define the voice of the customer or how it should be measured, the answers would all be very different based on what team you're on or what your goals are.
For sure, Jared. So I'd propose we kind of level set here. To us, the practice of hearing the voice of the customer isn't limited to just collecting surveys. It's extended to the set of actions that follow and what brands are actually doing with that feedback. So when we talk about voice of the customer, yes, it's collecting and measuring, but it's also acting and implementing.
Which brings us back to this idea of generality. For many of you, your voice of customer insight is probably too broad. You get dashboards with overarching CSAT metrics, but you can't identify where bright spots are shining and where fires are needing to be put out. In this case, if you're managing a contact center or trying to improve individual interactions, this generalization is keeping you in your own silo. You're isolated from firsthand data and knowledge. You need to actually impact the customer experience and follow up. And this is a huge problem because a number on its own can't lead you to making changes.
Exactly. Being specific is essential, and it's vital that your voice of customer tools can navigate this specificity. Mindful feedback excels inside contact centers. Not to say that other VOC platforms can't provide insightful data, but when you're using a tool that's specifically built for a CCaaS, the contact center, and the agent interaction, you're going to be able to draw so much more additional value that you wouldn't get when you're just measuring an overall customer journey with a brand. These micro experiences can really be the holy grail of feedback, leading to meaningful and impactful changes in your business. So let's walk through a specific scenario where we're collecting feedback in real time with a post-call survey.
All right, let's do it.
So a customer calls in to their bank support number listed on their website. They go through the IVR and are asked if they want to opt into a survey. Fun fact here, Jared, removing that opt-in, opt-out actually increases your survey take rate.
Oh.
So just send them all to the survey.
Send them all.
Send them all. Okay, so they talk to the agent, they have a pleasant conversation, they get their question resolved. Immediately after the agent wraps, the survey kicks in. They answer an NPS question about the business, another question about how helpful the agent was, and then they leave feedback saying, wow, the agent was awesome, they knew exactly how to answer my question, they did it quickly and efficiently.
For sure.
So now, check this out.
Ooh.
I know, right? All right, so mindful feedback not only collects all of that amazing feedback on its own, it's also bringing over all those call attributes from the call center platform like time spent in the queue, agent handle time, agent tenure, wrap-up code. We can take all of those attributes and provide some really detailed data to identify hotspots and areas that deserve some recognition. As soon as that feedback is collected, we can have automatic notifications sent to the agent supervisor, letting them know they had a great call. This can come through as an email or through whatever messaging platform your business uses, like Microsoft Teams or Slack.
Awesome. All that sounds like it'd actually be really helpful for agents too.
Yes, definitely. So it's no secret that agent burnout is a huge problem. So provide support for your employees. Give them some praise when it's deserved. They shouldn't just hear from you when negative feedback comes in. That negative feedback might just be an outcome of an agent that needs some coaching or positive reinforcement so that they feel valued and appreciated instead of bogged down. So that's the beauty of feedback. It doesn't just lead to improved business operations, it can also help uplift your employees. All right, so with Mindful Feedback's leaderboard, users can see the top scores of agents or other interaction attributes like call type or wrap-up code in real time. The leaderboard is a great morale booster, and it encourages friendly competition among teams. With the performance metrics provided in the Mindful Feedback dashboard, agents can use this data as a training tool and self-correct without input from their supervisors. Measuring performance is one area that contributes to your agents' overall happiness and satisfaction at work. It gives them a sense of purpose and realization that, hey, my work matters here and I'm contributing to my overall brand's mission. Being able to see where the agents are absolutely crushing it and giving supervisors the information they need to identify the areas for coaching, that's going to help you uncover your most important opportunities for impact.
All right, let's tackle this next one. The reality that who owns the data directly correlates to what impact you can make. So it could be that at your brand, the voice of customer function is owned or managed by an entirely different team than the customer-facing team. Or maybe you have a customer experience branch that's collecting, analyzing, and designing, but aren't the ones interacting with customers and delivering the final experience. So if you're sitting in the contact center, you're removed in this case from firsthand customer feedback. And as I'm sure you know, this makes it difficult to coach agents and know where to focus. But this also prevents your organization from improving overall. If one team is tasked with collecting and interpreting this data before sharing it out, it's still detrimental to others. There could be comments about the website or service hours or even a product. And now the whole organization is reliant on one team's interpretation of that data to know where to innovate and focus, clouding the reality of what's really needed. So Megan, talk to us about how to democratize this voice of customer data.
Yeah, definitely. Let's talk about it. So major business decisions typically aren't made by drawing a shorter stick or by playing rock, paper, scissors. Taking a more data-driven approach and democratizing access to voice of customer insights, that's going to help to reduce the number of data silos that exist. And it's going to give all departments the knowledge of where customers are getting stuck in their journey. That information shouldn't just be up to one group or department to hold. It really needs to be shared. But I don't want to get too caught up in who owns the data. That's going to take up way too much time in this webinar, and it's really highly debatable. But what's more important is who has access to it. Now, let me show you how we tackle this. With Mindful Feedback, there are many options when it comes to sharing the data. Notifications can be set up to different departments depending on certain watchwords, like a bad experience on the website sent to the digital UI team. Or reports can be automatically generated on a daily, weekly, monthly basis and sent to individual stakeholders. Traditionally, data has been reserved for the handful of analysts who know how to interpret, cut it up, translate the data, but this isn't the standard anymore, as our world, as you know it, has become increasingly data-driven. By providing access to the data cross-functionally, it allows teams to make more data-backed decisions, like designers may need to take a look at the help center if customers are finding it hard to navigate. And these valuable insights encourage responsibility and accountability across your entire organization.
Okay, Megan, this sounds almost like a dream world with teams actually working together off of shared feedback. But, I know one problem a lot of people face out there is figuring out, how to get started.
For sure. We hear that from a lot of our clients. And earlier, we looked at notifications and reports, which can loop people in. But now let's look at the info that you'd ideally be sharing. Using Mindful Feedback's sentiment analysis reduces silos and gives all teams in the organization a holistic view of patterns and trends happening across the customer journey. Let's take a deeper look at sentiment analysis. When your customers leave feedback, either through text or voice, words can be recognized as positive, here in blue, or negative, in red. Words can also be grouped by semantic category and organized by positive, negative, or mixed based on the analysis. By surfacing the sentiments in real time, you'll be able to see things like a decrease in sentiment related to issues with long hold times, or a rise in comments related to the rollout of a new UI on your brand's website. There's no pointing fingers when the customers are your source of truth. With all teams on the same page, it's going to ensure that customers are at the center of every business decision. And that's going to lead to more agile product development, happier executives, and increased customer loyalty.
For sure. One of the biggest hurdles to improving customer experiences before they escalate is timing. A problem for one customer is certainly likely to exist for more customers. Take like a billing issue. If customers get double billed, for example, and your team starts hearing cases about it, you need to act immediately to resolve that and prevent a major influx of cases. Meanwhile, on the back end of an interaction, if a customer has a negative experience and tells you about it, this is your time and a critical time to act fast. The last thing that you want is for that experience to snowball online. I'm sure many of you have had stress dreams about viral posts. But at the end of the day, if you're sending surveys days out or reviewing them at a delayed cadence, you'll always be behind the ball. And I think a lot of folks, think that this is a problem with their team size. Like, Jared, I want to be able to act immediately, but we just don't have the headcount dedicated to closing the loop. But oftentimes we find it boils down more to silos and tooling. So Megan, help us, explore what teams of any size can do to start closing the loop expertly.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you can imagine it, there used to be a world that we lived in where software existed independently of one another, systems didn't talk to each other, data wasn't shared, everything had to be manually exported and analyzed.
No.
Wait, this still happens.
Right.
Teams and departments also still exist independently of one another. But hey, we're all still fighting the good fight. So don't be discouraged. There's still plenty that can be done, even if you have limited resources, to act with urgency when things go awry. Mindful feedback makes it super easy to connect to your other existing solutions. This also helps provide a more seamless and connected experience across the entire brand's tech stack. We can integrate with any software as a service application, basically as long as it has hooks into it. So whether it be an API or a webhook, super easy to do. For example, if I'm in Salesforce or even Zendesk and I'm closing out this case, we can have that case closure automatically trigger mindful feedback to send out a follow-up survey.
That's awesome. I know automation is key when it comes to taking action, while being under-resourced. And having two critical systems work together to accomplish that sounds fantastic.
I know, right? All right, let's say a negative interaction occurs and the customer leaves feedback that can only be described as awful, like really, really bad.
Real bad.
They leave feedback and they say, hey, I'm going to your competitor, I'm going to leave a Google review, and it's not going to be pretty.
Ouch.
Now, realistically, some customers, they're going to do this no matter what you try to do to close the loop. But many will change their tune if you can reach out in a timely and effective way. And that's definitely worth the effort, don't you think? All right, so in this scenario, because we have a notification on the word competitor and review, we can set up a follow-up to truly close the loop on this interaction. The customer will get an immediate text or email with a coupon code and an apology, along with an option to receive a callback from a supervisor. All of those actions can be triggered without human intervention. It's pretty cool, right, Jared?
Yeah.
Your customer is going to be thrilled that you care enough to reach out and that their voice is actually being heard and not ending up in the black hole of customer feedback. And you might have just saved yourself from a bad Google review or the dreaded viral post. Mindful feedback can also do a little bit of case management to help teams with tracking interaction resolutions, because all of our surveys are tied to a specific agent interaction. Supervisors can review them and listen back to the conversation and update the record with what action is needed, whether that be an email to the customer, a callback, or maybe just additional agent training. Remember that with every survey response, your customer is signaling a desire to engage with your brand. Follow-up actions matter.
All right, so to make sure you're walking away, feeling empowered and ready to go make some real change, let's do a quick recap of what we covered.
Okay, so we talked about the importance of being specific. Collecting feedback is great, but you need to have it connected to unique interactions so that you can reproduce those bright spots and extinguish fires.
And we also talked about gaining insight for your whole team. Having a constant pulse on the customer's perception will enable you to coach and improve. And make sure you share that data. Even though the feedback may be tied to your contact center, there's so much to gain for other parts of your organization.
And finally, shorten your time to closing the loop. The longer it takes, the more is at stake. So make sure you have adequate tooling and processes to follow up effectively.
Of course, we've looked a lot at how mindful feedback can accomplish all these things today. So if you'd like to dive deeper and learn some more about how it could work at your organization, reach out to us and let's get a demo set up. We even offer a free trial and would love to get you set up to see how real-time feedback could work to improve your customer experience. Megan, thanks for joining me today. It has been so great. But before we wrap, there is one piece of unfinished business.